Tonight on Y News. A policeman dies after shielding people from a grenade blast in Misamis Oriental. Malacañang vows no one will be spared from the government's investigation on the alleged irregularities besetting the 2019 SEA Games. Philippine SEA Games Organizing Committee Chairman Alan Peter Cayetano to order a special audit of the SEA Games funds. The Department of Health allays fears over reported cases of bubonic plague in China. And Komori intensifies into a typhoon as it nears the country. Good evening. The Office of President Rodrigo Duterte will launch an investigation on the supposed incompetence and irregularities in the countries hosting the Southeast Asian Games. Malacañang assures no one will be spared and there will be no sacred cows in the probe. Rosalie Cos reports why.
According to the palace, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano, the chairman of the Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee or PHISGOC, will be held accountable once the allegations of corruption and irregularities in the SEA Games hosting are proven true.
There is no sacred cow in this government. We've been repeatedly saying that. Those who transgress the law will be accountable.
The palace admits that critics have a point in slamming the errors in handling the event preparations. Malacañang also welcomes Senate's initiative to conduct an inquiry on the issues. Secretary Panelo adds the palace will study the proposal to make the SEA Games tickets discounted or even free. This after samahang weightlifting ng Pilipinas appealed to President Duterte to make all SEA Games events free to public to attract a bigger crowd to watch, cheer for the competing Filipino athletes and maximize the home court advantage.
Kung ako tatanungin mo, personally, they should allow students na libre. Or kung hindi kaya na libre, 50% discount.
The palace insists the revenue from the ticket sales will be used for the maintenance of the equipment and venues. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano is ready to face Senate to answer the issues surrounding his committee's preparation for the 30th Southeast Asian Games. The Solon also plans to get the Commission on Audit to conduct an audit of the SEA Games funds. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
There is no anomaly in the preparations for the SEA Games hosted by the Philippines this year. This is what House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano, who chairs the Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee or PHISGOC, wants to prove to fellow lawmakers who have raised several issues days before the official opening of the regional multisport event. Cayetano adds he is ready to initiate an investigation on the SEA Games funds.
Ako mismo, kagabi, inutos ko na mag-draft ng letter dated December 12, addressed to COA for an independent special audit of all government funds used for the SEA Games.
The House Speaker also answered Senator Panfilo Lacson's statement describing the act of transferring government funds to PHISGOC as somewhat Napoles-like. PHISGOC is a private institution.
Ang nangyari kay Napoles, peke yung mga delivery, ninakaw ang pera. Hindi naman crime yun sa Napoles na may foundation eh. Hindi naman crime sa Napoles na merong kang hawak na government funds.
Following accusations thrown by some senators in connection with the SEA Games budget, Cayetano said he is ready to face Senate to answer the senators' questions after the SEA Games.
Sabi po ng palasyo, kung may irregularities, then there should be a investigation. But there is no irregularities. Despite that, with our promise for transparency, haharapin namin lahat yan.
The congressman also disproves the statement of presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo, who has said the office of the president will conduct a probe on the SEA Games controversies.
That wasn't the message to me by the president. Sec Panelo sometimes has his own interpretation or his own words.
According to Cayetano, he has received word from the president to do what is necessary in the conduct of the SEA Games. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Senate Minority Floor Leader Franklin Drilon maintains that Senate is not guilty of slashing the budget for the 30th Southeast Asian Games the Philippines is hosting. According to the Solon, it's the bicameral conference committee that made budget cuts. Nel Maribuhok reports why.
Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon once again refutes the allegation that Senate slashed the 7.5 billion peso budget Southeast Asian Games. Kabayan Party List Representative Ron Salo, during his privileged speech at the House of Representatives on Wednesday, accused Senator Drilon of cutting the SEA Games budget while transferring 2.3 billion pesos to some infrastructure projects in Iloilo, Senator Drilon's home province. According to the Senate Minority Floor Leader, the Senate's journal dated December 6, 2018 would reveal that no member of the Senate slashed the SEA Games budget. The senator says it's the bicameral conference committee, which members of the House of Representatives were part of, that slashed the budget. The senator stands firm he did not propose to shrink the budget to 5 billion pesos. The current budget for the SEA Games is 6 billion pesos after 1 billion pesos was added from the contingency fund. Meanwhile, amid the controversies hounding the Philippines hosting of the 30th edition of the biennial regional sporting event, Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri calls for unity and to stop the issues in the meantime. For Senator Zubiri, what's important right now is showing full support to the Filipino athletes.
Kasi kung wala po kayo dyan at di po kayo nag-cheer para sa ating mga kababayan, wala po tayong home court advantage at baka mahirapan ulit ang ating mga atleta.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, has no plans to designate a special lane for SEA Games delegates and convoys. The agency warns the public to expect much heavier traffic as participants, spectators, and supporters will travel to Bulacan to witness the opening of the 2019 SEA Games. Joan Nano tells us why.
Last week's simulation for the SEA Games traffic plan is enough according to the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA. No special lane will be designated for the convoys of athletes and delegates of the 30th SEA Games who will travel for the opening ceremonies happening on Saturday at the Philippine Sports Arena in Bulacan. This despite the Philippine National Police recommendation.
May escorts naman po ito ng mga HPG at kaya nga ho sir tayo nagkaroon ng simulation para humatiyak natin kung anong oras ba dapat umalis yung ating mga bisita at atleta sa kanilang mga iba't ibang billeting hotels para makarating po on time sa Philippine Arena. So hindi na ho natin nakikita yung importansya ng pagkakaroon pa ng isang lane para lang po sa SEA Games.
On Saturday, the MMDA will implement the stop-and-go traffic scheme. After the SEA Games convoy pass through, normal traffic flow will resume. Motorists are reminded of the firm implementation of the yellow lane policy. Private vehicles will be strictly prohibited to pass through the yellow lane. The MMDA advises the public to expect much heavier traffic not only on EDSA but also on the North Luzon Expressway, South Luzon Expressway, and other major thoroughfares like the Ross Boulevard, Loton, Taft, and Mindanao Avenues. But the MMDA assures, however, they will do their best efforts to manage the traffic. Not only the delegates but also fans and supporters are expected to travel on Saturday. Point-to-point buses stationed at Trinoma in Quezon City and the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PITX, in Pasay City are available. Several malls located along EDSA have canceled their weekend sale from November 30 to December 11. This is aside from the cancellation of classes in several schools and universities near the venues of SEA Games events. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
State Weather Agency Pag-asa is closely monitoring the movement of Typhoon Komori while it moves near the Philippine Area of Responsibility. As of 10 a.m. today, Komori was located at 1,430 kilometers east of Visayas with maximum sustained winds of 120 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 150 kilometers per hour. It has slowed down while moving towards the west-northwestward direction at 10 kilometers per hour. Pag-asa said Komori is expected to enter the country between Saturday evening and Sunday morning. It will be named Tropical Cyclone Tisoy once it enters PAR. Another Filipina beauty queen brings honor to the Philippines after gorgeous female certified divers from 23 countries competed at the Miss Cuba International 2019 in Kota, Kinabalu, Malaysia. Maribel Boral-Cabling tells us why.
Miss Cuba Philippines 2019 Liz Mapao is back in the Philippines after a successful Miss Cuba International 2019 journey in Kota, Kinabalu, Malaysia this month. The beauty queen from Rizal was crowned second runner-up during the pageant's coronation night last November 16.
I wasn't expecting anything kasi sobrang gagaling ng mga candidates. Yung iba galing pa sa mga malalaking pageants like Miss International, Miss Supra, Miss Intercontinental. So I wasn't expecting anything. Gusto ko lang ibigay yung best ko and ma-represent ng mabuti yung bansa.
During the question and answer portion, when she was asked if given a chance to add a criterion in choosing the Miss Cuba International, what would it be and why? She answered,
A criteria that would measure their determination because it takes more than just a heart. You should be able to bounce back in whatever that comes against you, like climate change, because it takes determination and resilience to make a difference.
Liz was also hailed as Best in National Costume and placed 6th Best in Talent. Miss Cuba Philippines National Director and the dive host, Cindy Maduma, says she is proud of another victory brought home by a Filipina beauty queen. She also underscores that the Miss Cuba pageant is not just about the experience of a candidate on stage, but more importantly, her contribution to marine conservation.
After ng competition, malalaman mo winner or non-winner in every country. Nagiging leaders na sila sa mga bansa nila. Some of them become head leader of marine conservation organization. Na-amplify pa yung voice nila on how we can save our ocean.
Maduma assures that through the efforts of Miss Cuba Philippines, their advocacy to conserve the Philippines' marine resources and to train more Filipinas to become divers will go broader and deeper. Maribel Boral-Cabling, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Alex Baltasar left off. I am William Theo, and here are the headlines. A policeman dies after shielding people from a grenade blast at a school in Misamis Oriental. Malacañang questions Vice President Leni Robredo's discoveries on the government's anti-drug war. Anti-drug law enforcement agencies want to push for the approval of death penalty in the country. The Department of Health allays fears over reported cases of bubonic plague in China. And Seven Lake in San Pablo, Laguna is now under study as an alternative water source in the city. Good evening. A policeman died shielding people from a grenade blast in Initao College, Misamis Oriental. Dante Amento has the details.
A police officer was killed while another cop and 10 others were injured in a grenade blast inside Initao College in Initao, Misamis Oriental before noon Thursday. Latest police report identified the fatality as Police Senior Master Sergeant Jason Magno. Another officer identified as Police Senior Master Sergeant Alice Balido, and 10 students were injured in the blast. Initial police report showed that Magno and Balido responded to the scene following a report about a man causing trouble in the school. During confrontation with the police, the suspect threw a grenade which prompted Magno to shield others from the explosion. Magno's fellow officer, Balido, shot the suspect, resulting in his death. Balido, along with 10 injured students, were rushed to the hospital. Authorities identified the suspect as Ibrahim Ampaso Basher, 65, and a resident of Madamba, Lanao del Sur. Investigation on the incident is underway. Dan Diamento, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Meanwhile, Malacañang questioned what's taking Vice President Leni Robredo long to divulge her so-called discoveries on the government's anti-drug campaign. Presidential spokesperson and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo is asking why did VP Robredo not disclose them to the public right away when she was still the government's drug czar. The vice president has earlier insisted she would report to the Filipino people her discoveries and recommendations on the Duterte administration's anti-drug war after the president dismissed her as drug czar last Sunday.
Pwede ba? Kung meron kang natuklasan na masama, dapat inilalabas mo na. Ngayon, kung gagawa ka pa lang ng hindi umanong natuklasan mo, it will really take time to craft. Matagal, masyadong, tagal naman.
Anti-drug law enforcement agencies want to push for the approval of capital punishment in the country. Leia Ilagan reports why.
Drug syndicates in the country don't seem to be shaken up by the anti-illegal drug operations of law enforcement agencies and the government's war on drugs. In fact, the Philippine National Police confiscated 17 kilograms of suspected shabu in an operation in Las Piñas City yesterday, following the arrest of a Chinese national identified as Liu Chao in Makati City early morning yesterday. The PNP Drug Enforcement Group or PDEG confiscated 371 packs of suspected shabu from Chao, estimated to be worth about 2.5 billion pesos. PDEG Acting Director Romeo Karamat Jr. divulged that Chao acts as a warehouse man for a drug syndicate operating in the country, while 2 suspects arrested in the Las Piñas operation are his couriers as well as 2 others nabbed by PDEG on November 6. PDEG says that Chao's arrest may impact the drug syndicate he works for.
If you will ask me kung nasaktan ng drug syndicate sa pagkakahuli nitong si Liu Chao, definitely, because it will take time para makahanap uli ng isang trusted man na kudigero.
Because of the continuous proliferation of illegal drugs across the country, the Philippine National Police, Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, and the Dangerous Drugs Board seek the passage of the death penalty in the Philippines.
I am in favor of imposition of drug penalty for drug trafficking.
Everybody end up sa National Bilibid Prison. Doon, nai-enhance pa nila yung organized network nila to traffic illegal drugs. So, this give them a chance to reunite and to reconnect with other drug personalities. And when they get out, it will be a bigger problem. So, I am in favor for the death penalty.
No, of course. Kasi, coming from the accused and the suspects themselves, based on interrogation, why are you doing this here in the Philippines? Because there's no death penalty. Ganun lang siya kasimple.
General Gamboa confirms the illegal substance confiscated yesterday came from a foreign country, based on the T plastic with words written in Chinese characters. The PNP OIC adds the recalibrated drug campaign targets to lower the supply of illegal drugs and to arrest the high-value targets. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Krame.
The Philippine Coast Guard Search Operations Unit rescued a foreign national who jumped off Pasig River on Wednesday morning. The victim, identified as Mr. Johnson Obi from Cameroon, Africa, was found handcuffed after he jumped off Valenzuela Ferry Station. Obi recalled he was handcuffed by unknown bystanders at his residence in Makati City. He said he was able to escape from his predators. According to PCG, Mr. Obi was turned over to the Mandaluyong City Police Station for proper disposition. In other news, the onset of the holiday season comes with the presence of lawless elements who take advantage of the festivities. And some of them even trick people online. Find out how to detect phishing and what to do to avoid getting victimized. The Fishers.
At
first glance, there seems to be nothing wrong with these emails from leading bank institutions. The emails contain a request to recipients to verify their bank account by logging in at the provided link, or else their bank accounts will be deactivated. The link will redirect the user to what looks like a bank website. The interface looks legitimate, but upon looking at the website address, the Universal Resource Locator or URL is different. Sadly, some Filipinos have fallen prey to such illegal activity called phishing. Oxford Dictionary defines phishing as the activity of tricking people to give their identity, bank account numbers, and other bank account details over the internet or by email, and then using those details to steal money from the victims. According to the Philippine National Police Anti-Cybercrime Group, phishing usually becomes rampant during the holiday season.
Mabilis siyang ginagawa ng mga kawatan eh. Once na makuha na nila agad yung information mo, kinagat mo yung paing nila. So eventually gagawa agad yan ng transaction. It's either through wireless transaction, sending of money, or using your information to do something against you.
To avoid getting victimized by phishers, check if an email received from your bank is legitimate. It is best to call the bank's office to confirm if the email came from them. Avoid clicking links that might direct you to a third-party website, particularly one that requires you to input personal information. In case you clicked a link, check the format and the spelling of the website address. Examine the website contents such as the logo and the layout. Malicious websites try to imitate the interface of the original website to make it more believable. The PNP call on the public to be vigilant to avoid getting tricked by phishers.
And let us find time na pumunta na lang sa bangko to personally update our information rather than be sorry.
Phishers may face 6 years up to 12 years of imprisonment and pay fine of 200,000 pesos up to 1 million pesos for violating Republic Act 10175 or the Anti-Cybercrime Law. Bank institutions remind their clients to never give their personal information to suspicious senders. Transact only through official websites and authorized offices. Phishing victims may seek help at the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group in Camp Crame or in regional offices, or contact their hotline 0998-598-8116. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Philippines Department of Health is not worried about the reported cases of bubonic plague in China. The Health Department assures the plague cannot easily reach the Philippines. Aiko Miguel details why.
China reports 4 cases of bubonic plague since the beginning of the month. Chinese health authorities reported today the 4th case in the country's northern Inner Mongolia region. The World Health Organization is on alert in case the bubonic plague poses a potential threat on the health of the people living in China's neighboring countries. The Philippines Department of Health or DOH assures the plague cannot easily reach the country.
At ang WHO naman wala pang dinalabas na any alert na international na potential international spread. So at this time, hindi naman tayo natatakot na makarating ito dito sa atin.
Bubonic plague is caused by the bacteria Yersinia pestis, which can be transmitted to humans through a tick or flea that bit an infected rat. A person infected by the bacteria commonly experiences flu-like symptoms, such as fever, body ache, headache, and vomiting.
Itong bacteria na to nasa dugo ng mga daga, tapos kapag yung mga pulgas o garapata ng daga, nakagat sila, tapos nakakagat ng tao, maaring matransmit sa tao at maging cause ng pagkamatay.
A person who experiences the symptoms of bubonic plague can be treated with antibiotics prescribed by doctors. The DOH advises the public to maintain cleanliness and conduct pest control regularly to prevent any kind of pestilence in the country. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Meanwhile, 8 shallow wells are being constructed in San Pablo City, Laguna. This after a state of calamity declared in the city last week. Sherwin Pulubong tells us why.
25 barangays in San Pablo City, Laguna are experiencing lack of water supply. Alejo Raimundo Genobe Jr., the San Pablo Water District Community Relations Chief, says that because of limited rainfall since last year, the water level in the city's water resources continue to decline. They are now considering to source water from outside the city and the 7 lakes, which are recreational and tourist destinations.
San Pablo City is known as the city of 7 lakes. But right now we're not getting anything, any supply from surface sources. So eventually we're going to get our source, our water from those surface sources, yung mga lawa namin.
The San Pablo Water District adds, although the 7th crater lake is 100 hectares wide, 27 meters deep, and has a capacity of 14 million cubic meters of water, it can supply a limited amount of water. The San Pablo City government hopes the water district's intervention can solve the water crisis.
Kung wala kayong solusyon dito sa problemang ito, hinihiling ko by April, mag-courtesy resignation kayo.
Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV News and Rescue, San Pablo, Laguna.
Electrical engineers in the Philippines showcase various forms of technology at the 44th Institute of Integrated Electrical Engineers Annual National Convention. The group also supports the Philippine government's campaign on energy efficiency. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
Technology is undoubtedly a part of people's everyday life. It makes us work efficiently, not to mention conveniently. But the use of technology also comes with the use of various forms of energy, such as electrical energy. And the demand for electrical energy has challenged various producers and creators globally. Other companies, however, resort to producing equipment and materials that bring out efficient use of energy.
Pinopromote natin yung mga gamit na energy efficient. Yung mura, saka epektibo, para sa ating mga kabayan, saka safe, yun ang pinaka-importante.
The government, for its part, through the Department of Energy, is pushing the implementation of Republic Act 11285, or the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, signed by President Rodrigo Duterte this year. Under the law, all government agencies, including government-owned corporations, are directed to ensure the efficient use of energy in all their facilities and projects.
When we become more efficient, power becomes more affordable. The demand for power decreases, so the impact that it has to environment also becomes better.
In its 44th year, the Institute of Integrated Electrical Engineers of the Philippines, Incorporated, or IIEE, once again has gathered Filipino electrical engineers to strive to create technologies that promote energy efficiency. The annual National Convention and Expo 2019 at the SMX Convention Center in Pasay City features training and exhibits open until November 30.
Free naman, everyone can go in at free yung access and a lot of things na makikita nyo. Especially nga kanina yung mga latest technology. So, ini-invite kayo to visit us up to Saturday po.
Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Welcome back to Y News. Job seekers in Luzon await job caravans launched by the Labor Department to run from today until next month. Over 200 employers with thousands of local jobs and employment abroad participate in DOLE's campaign to decrease the unemployment rate in the country. Dante Amento tells us why.
Ahead of the Department of Labor and Employment celebration of its 86th founding anniversary, job caravans across Luzon await job seekers. The jobs fair opened today at the Cuneta Astrodome in Pasay City. We spotted several senior high school students who took advantage of the chance to get employed. One of them is John Paul Mallorca, who got hired on the spot.
Willing naman po ako mag-apply talaga agad kasi mahirap talaga yung wala pong trabaho.
Even retired banker Pinky Navarro, despite being aware her chances to be hired are limited, still came to apply. Navarro said despite her disability, she doesn't want her daughter to shoulder her medicines and other necessities.
Mostly may age limit and yun, due to my disability, I think na medyo limited yung mga companies where I can apply.
Maria Carancho, who is in her 60s, put her best foot forward during the interview she faced.
Makikita mo yung blanco yung mukha nila na
Do you have a place for a senior citizen?
However, Dolly says senior citizens should not apply in this kind of venue of job applications. Dolly advises it is better to pass through the local government units, who will then coordinate with companies who hire senior citizens and persons with disability. The Manila City and Pasay City government uphold such practice of giving the elderly and PWDs chance to earn a living.
If they are also qualified, kung kaya rin ng kanilang pangangatawan.
Sila yung mag-hire ng mga senior citizens, mag-hire sila ng mga PWDs, at we encourage this practice, no?
Dolly's nationwide job caravan includes about 22,000 local and foreign employments. Aside from the Metro Manila venue, the job caravan will stop in Legazpi City, Albay, San Pedro City, Laguna, San Nicolas, Ilocos Norte, Alaminos City, Pangasinan, and Dagupan City, Pangasinan. For details on requirements and job vacancies, just visit Dolly's Facebook page. Dan Tiamento, UNTV, News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte says he may directly supervise the Philippine National Police if not able to find an honest one to head it. This is what he said when asked if he has already found one in mind to appoint to be the next PNP chief. The chief executive says PNP has a lot to improve on, and unless he sees the very best, he will not appoint a new head of the police force.
From akin is if they have even a single case of corruption, wala ka na, you're out. I would rather not appoint anybody for that matter. Ako na ang hawak. Ako na ang hawak nun. I will be the one directing the guidance and direction lang naman ako.
And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening.
Good evening, William. The Chinese government threatened the United States with countermeasures and consequences after the U.S. president signed 2 bills into law backing Hong Kong's pro-democracy protesters. Ferdy Petalio reports.
U.S. President Donald Trump has signed into law legislation backing pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong, angering Beijing, which has condemned the bill as full of prejudice and arrogance. The first bill, known as the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act of 2019, approved unanimously by the U.S. Senate and by all. But one lawmaker in the House of Representatives last week requires the State Department to annually review whether Hong Kong retains enough autonomy to justify favorable U.S. trading terms. The law, which also threatens sanctions on Chinese and Hong Kong officials deemed responsible for human rights abuses in Hong Kong, further escalates tensions between Beijing and the U.S. Congress passed a second bill, which Trump also signed, banning the export to the Hong Kong police of crowd-controlled munitions, such as tear gas, pepper spray, rubber bullets, and stun guns. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in a statement Thursday responded by reminding the U.S. that Hong Kong is part of China and Hong Kong affairs are China's internal affairs, where no foreign government or force shall interfere. This act will only further expose the malicious and hegemonic nature of U.S. intentions to the Chinese people, including our Hong Kong compatriots. The Hong Kong government also strongly opposes and regrets the legislation and that it would damage the city's relationship with the U.S. The move on Wednesday comes at a time when the U.S. president is seeking a deal with China to end a damaging trade war. China has denounced the legislation as gross interference in its affairs and a violation of international law. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue, Hong Kong.
Massachusetts placed heavy restrictions on the sale of flavored tobacco and nicotine vaping products. Aiko Miguel details why.
Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker signed sweeping legislations to restrict the sale of flavored tobacco and vaping products, making his state the first to enact such stringent controls. This law seeks to make these flavored tobacco products less attractive to the youth amid a wave of vaping-related illnesses and deaths. Anti-smoking groups hailed the initiative, which restricts the sale and consumption of flavored vaping products immediately, and that of menthol cigarettes from June 1, 2020. In recent months, Massachusetts and other states, including Michigan, Montana, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Utah, and Washington have temporarily banned or restricted the sale of vaping products. But Massachusetts is now the first state to impose a permanent ban on all flavored tobacco or nicotine vaping products. The new law specifically restricts the sale of these products to licensed smoking bars exclusively for on-site consumption. The ban extends to menthol cigarettes and flavored e-cigarettes, cigars, pipe tobacco, and chewing tobacco. It also imposes a 75% excise tax on nicotine vaping products and gives public health officials new authority to regulate the products. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue.
Search and rescue operations continue after a powerful earthquake shook Albania on Tuesday. Meanwhile, 7 Islamist extremists have been sentenced to death by a Bangladesh court over a savage 2016 attack that killed 22 people, including 18 foreigners at a Dhaka cafe. Details in this report. In Bangladesh, an anti-terrorism court sentenced 7 men to death on Wednesday after finding them guilty of plotting a deadly attack on a cafe in Dhaka that killed 22 people, mostly foreigners, more than 3 years ago. Judge Mujibur Rahman of the Anti-Terrorism Special Tribunal in Dhaka acquitted the 8 accused in the case as he read the verdict in a crowded courtroom, determining the role the convicts played in planning the July 1, 2016 attack on the capital's popular Holy Artisan Bakery Cafe. The prosecution said they were happy with the verdict and would decide to challenge the acquittal of the 8th accused after reading and analyzing the verdict. In Afghanistan, preliminary results of Afghanistan's presidential election held 2 months ago have hit a dead end after being delayed indefinitely amid fraud allegations and growing political uncertainty in the war-torn country. The results of the September 28 vote were to be declared on October 19, but had to be postponed until November 14 due to technical problems. The second deadline was also pushed back after incumbent President Ashraf Ghani's main rival Abdullah protested the alleged fraudulent addition of some hundreds of thousands of votes to a planned recount by the Independent Election Commission. According to the poll panel, out of 2.7 million votes polled, only 1.92 million were biometrically verified. Of these verified votes, 86,000 more were annulled because the ballots did not meet the required criterion set by the commission. And in Europe, emergency operations continued in Albania in an attempt to rescue any remaining survivors from the rubble after a powerful 6.4 magnitude earthquake shook the entire country on Tuesday, leaving at least 30 dead. Rescue teams are working tirelessly in Thomana and Durrës, north of the Albanian capital, in an attempt to find survivors. Both places registered the highest number of deaths after several buildings collapsed. Between 10 and 25 people remain missing, although data is not accurate, and it is thought the individuals may be spread across a dozen partially collapsed buildings and hotels. Kat Numaraos, UNTV News and Rescue. And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you, Kath Dumaraos, reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. An exhibit at the Jurong Bird Park in Singapore launched yesterday features 2 Philippine eagles. According to officials, the park is the first home for a breeding pair of the species outside the Philippines. Locals as well as Filipino citizens can enjoy a 50% off a pair of full-priced admission tickets to the exhibit. Annie Mancilia details why.
2 Philippine eagles are settling in their new home at the Jurong Bird Park in Singapore. Deutermica, nicknamed Gio, is 15 years old, while Sambisig or Sam is 17. The birds are in Singapore on a renewable 10-year conservation breeding loan inked with the Philippines Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DENR. DENR Assistant Secretary Cardo Calderon says this move is part of a mutual agreement and partnership between the two countries, and the first of its kind in the last 20 years.
So far, this is the first undertaking that we had. We loaned Philippine Eagle to Singapore because of their very good in situ program for conservation for the Philippine Eagle. Yeah, it's always subject to review and assessment and always subject to renewal.
According to Minister for Foreign Affairs Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan, the exhibit is timely as the two nations are celebrating the Golden Jubilee of their bilateral diplomatic relations this year.
And I'm very proud to say that I believe we are the first country in the world to host these majestic raptors under a breeding loan agreement from the Philippines. So thank you to the Philippines for trusting us.
Any future offspring of the pair of eagles will be returned to the Philippines to contribute to the sustainability of the species population under human care. According to Philippine Eagle Foundation Executive Director Dennis Salvador, though the process has taken a long time to mature since 2009, they hope for a fruitful conservation program.
To protect the species against the threat of disease outbreaks. As you know, avian flu influenza has been impacting the region adversely. So we wanted to do that, as well as to protect it against natural calamities. So that's the basic idea of why we want to get the eagles out of the country.
Ambassador of the Republic of the Philippines to Singapore, His Excellency Joseph Delmar Yap, invites Filipinos to visit Gio and Sam in Singapore.
And hopefully they will form become a couple, and then hopefully have offspring girls. So hopefully we'll be able to continue and propagate the Philippine eagles, our national bird. So please come and visit them so they will not be too lonely.
The year-end festivities during weekends at the Jurong Bird Park continue until December 29. Philippine eagles are known to stick to one partner in life, and this 10-year renewable conservation breeding plan of our national bird, Sam and Gio, brings hope to officials of Singapore and the Philippines that the friendship between two countries will continue to stick to each other for life. Annie Mancilia, UNTV News and Rescue, Singapore.
When we hear the name Kuya Daniel Razon, people would immediately think of him as Mr. Public Service. That's true, but today we would like to introduce Kuya Daniel to you the way that we know him.
Today, Kuya Daniel is celebrating his 36th anniversary in service to God and humanity. We are sure that a lot of people would like to share his accomplishments to the many talents he has as a veteran broadcaster, innovator, singer, composer, sportsman, educator, and philanthropist. But we would like to share some of Kuya Daniel's character so people will know how he deserved to be admired, not only for what he has done, but for who he really is. Kuya Daniel is a true gentleman in every sense of the word, a trait so rare these days. He still opens the door to ladies, reach for your hand when you need to step down, and talks to everyone with respect, whether young or old. He is incredibly generous, not only with traditional ways, like donating money or helping those in need, but he is more generous of his time, his strength, and his love. He has a big heart which he gives wholeheartedly in every work he does, regardless of what project, activity, or work. He spoils people with all the care he could give and make sure you will know that He will always be there for you. He shows us all how it is to have a moral conscience. He chooses good fights. He takes causes and takes moral stances when it is more popular not to do so. He speaks with utmost honesty and deals with issues with unbiased opinion. Yes, some of our celebrities have style, but none of them have character like Kuya Daniel. He would modestly and humbly deny all these, but for us who know him well, Kuya Daniel is a class of his own. He is the person who has our complete admiration and respect. Happy 36th anniversary, Kuya Daniel. May God continue to shower you with good health and multitudes of talents. We love you.
And those are the reasons behind the news this November 28, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar, I am William Theo. And before we close, we will recap with today's significant soundbites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
There is no sacred cow in this government. We've been repeatedly saying that. Those who transgress the law will be accountable.
Ako mismo, kagabi, inutos ko na mag-draft ng letter dated December 12, addressed to COA for an independent special audit of all government funds used for the SEA Games.
May escorts naman po ito ng mga HPG at kaya nga ho sir tayo nagkaroon ng simulation para humatiyak natin kung anong oras ba dapat umalis yung ating mga bisita at atleta. So hindi na ho natin nakikita yung importansya ng pagkakaroon pa ng isang lane para lang po sa SEA Games.
Pwede ba? Kung meron kang natuklasan na masama, dapat inilalabas mo na. Ngayon, kung gagawa ka pa lang ng hindi umanong natuklasan mo, it will really take time to craft. Matagal, masyado. Tagal naman.
Ang WHO naman, wala pang dinalabas na any alert na international, na potential international spread. So at this time, hindi naman tayo natatakot na makarating ito dito sa atin.